Hey guys, welcome to your synthesis writing workshop. This video will go over practices that you should adhere to when developing your synthesis essay, examples of the synthesis essay that you'll work with tomorrow, and also some guides for preparation so that you can be successful when you write your synthesis essay tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get started. So, what do you already know? So what do you think synthesis is, or means, or what does it have to do with, and when do you think you have synthesized things before? So go ahead, have some thoughts, meander. And once you've had those thoughts, let's think about this. So writing a synthesis essay means taking multiple sources and putting them together into a new idea. This new idea is the thesis statement for your synthesis essay. So essentially what this means is that you've written a synthesis essay before. So even if you didn't know the term before, you have already synthesized information through essays with multiple sources, discussions where you brought up multiple sources, and any other activity or product that required input from more than one place. So this hopefully should relieve some stress because you've written a synthesis essay before. It was maybe just called something else. So no stress. You got this. Now, let's still review it, just to make sure. So with a synthesis essay, you're going to be given a prompt, and from that prompt, you need to take a position. So for instance, this student was given a prompt about cigarette smoking, and the position that they came up with from that prompt is that cigarette smoking is bad for your health, but it is even worse for the poor. All right. So then, once they came up with that position, or actually they probably looked at all their sources, and then from those sources came up with the position, but you can go in either direction. They read through the sources. You'll have several of them. And when they read through their sources, they found 4 pieces of evidence that had different subtopics on the primary topic that they're arguing. So the 4 pieces of evidence that they found includes research on the health issues cigarette smokers have, like lung cancer, research on the ingredients of cigarettes demonstrating that some ingredients are toxic, research on the income variances of cigarette smokers versus people who quit smoking, and research that demonstrates health costs for lower income versus higher income people. So what you want to do with all 4 of these points is that you're then going to combine them into a more complex fancy thesis that you would have in your introduction. And you want to combine them in an order that will mimic the order in which your body paragraphs will actually address and use these pieces of evidence. So let's take a look at a sample thesis. So while the toxic components of cigarette smoking is detrimental to the health of all users, indiscriminately causing illnesses such as lung cancer, there is a distinct increase in use and therefore negative effects upon those with lower income, resulting in higher health costs for those who already struggle to make ends meet. So what you should see here is that you have 3 distinct body paragraphs that use the evidence shown in the previous graphic organizer. So the first body paragraph is going to be about the toxic components of cigarette smoke and how it causes lung cancer. So that those 2 pieces of evidence will be combined into a single body paragraph. Then we see that the next body paragraph is going to be about how there's a distinct increase in use and therefore negative effects upon those with lower income. That will be the focus of the second body paragraph. And then the focus of the third body paragraph will be the resulting higher health costs for those who already struggle to make ends meet. So we can see that the fancy smancy thesis, and yes, it's complex, and yes, it's long, but the AP graders and really everyone really likes those theses because it, 1, indicates what the essay will do, so it's very helpful towards your readers, and also it just shows the complexity of thought that you've put into it, which makes you more authoritative in what you're saying, because it shows that you know what you're talking about. So you're going to want to create a thesis like this, so let's practice. So what we have here is another set of pieces of evidence that all go towards a common topic. And so your topic is exercise and the benefits of exercise. So what I would like for you to do is pause this video, read the 4 pieces of evidence, and then write your own fancy thesis, and let's see how you do. So go ahead and pause the video and do that. All right, hopefully you've paused the video and we're in your thesis. So an example that your thesis is obviously not going to be exactly this, but an example of a resulting thesis could be, since research shows that a lack of exercise takes a toll on people's health while In contrast, a consistent exercise routine benefits both the mental and physical facilities. Individuals should look into the various types of exercise to find one that best fits their lifestyle. So that's a fancy-smancy thesis that you might get from this. All right. So the one problem is that with a synthesis essay for the AP Prep, what makes it difficult is the time restriction. All of you guys are very, very, very capable of writing a phenomenal synthesis essay, but you only have 40 to 45 minutes, which is stressful. But you guys can do it. It'll be fine. We're just going to practice. That's why we're practicing. So you will have 15 minutes, which you're actually going to do tonight for your homework, to read the prompts, identify your position, read through the resources, and identify what examples you want to quote or paraphrase in your essay. So you have 15 minutes to do that on the actual testing day, and you should try to stick to that time limit to the best of your ability when practicing to make it more realistic. And then tomorrow in class, I'm going to give you the entirety of class time, but do know that on the actual test day, you should finish this essay in 40 to 45 minutes, even though tomorrow in class you'll have 50 minutes. While you're taking the actual exam, these are some good rules of thumb. So first, do read the prompt carefully so you know what to look for. You want to make sure to stay on prompt. If you go off prompt, really the highest score you can get is a 4 out of 9, which is not what you're looking for. So make sure that you understand the prompt. It's worth taking a little extra time to read it, think about it, and make sure you understand what it's actually asking so that you answer it accurately. Before reading, skim through the sources provided, looking at the titles and the authors where the sources are from. Once you've taken your position from the titles, you can sometimes already figure out which of the resources are going to be most beneficial to you. So make sure to pull those out to save yourself a little time. You'll have several sources to work with, and since you only have 15 minutes, you want to use those sources as wisely as possible. Next, make note of the sources that seem to offer different perspectives. So a choice you'll have to make is if you want to offer a counter-argument in your synthesis essay. You do not have to, but it's a really great tactic to show that you know how argumentation works, that you understand that counter-arguments that you then prove wrong in order to further prove your own position is a really excellent writing tactic of argumentation. So if you want to do that, you're going to need to identify the different perspectives so that you can have an alternative perspective to your own that you can then disprove in order to further prove your own perspective. Next, if you don't understand a source, skip it. Like I said, you have tons of sources to work with, so don't get bogged down in one that's difficult to understand. For instance, sometimes there will be graphs included that are kind of difficult to comprehend. If you can't figure out the graph upon the first glance through, just skip it. There are plenty of other sources that you can use. You only need to include 3. You can include more, but you only need to include 3. But you have to include 3, so don't do 2. 3 or more. All right. Also, annotate as you read. Don't take too much time going back and forth for evidence. Gather as you read. This is very important. Some students will read through all of the sources and then go back and read through them all again to underline things they want. That's such a waste of time. Underline as you read the first time, and you will take half of the time you would have otherwise. So please underline, star, asterisk. Make sure that you annotate upon your first read to save yourself time. All right, so now that we've gone through all of these rules of thumbs, good practices, let's go take a look at the synthesis prompt that you'll be working with tomorrow. All right, so here she is. Do me a favor, pause the video, and read through the entire prompt and identify what the most important part of this entire prompt is for understanding what your essay needs to do. So pause the video and do that. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. What's most important is right here where it says, write a well-developed argument for your own position on whether your school should establish, maintain, revise, or eliminate an honor code or honor system. So that is what you are responding to and what you need to take a position on. So your position can be, yes, the school should have a very strict honor code or honor system, and you'll explain what that code would look like and why it should look that way. You might say, no code at all, none, no honor system, out with it, and then explain why. Or you can qualify, where you can say that some honor codes are beneficial while other honor codes are not beneficial, and explain why. So select your position, and now that you have your position, what you'll do is you'll go through these sources and you will use them to support that position that you just selected. So let's take a look at some of them. So you have various sources, such as this one, which is source A. So there's a couple of things that I would suggest that you do when looking at the sources. The first thing I suggest that you do is write up in the corner whether it's for honor codes, against honor codes, or if it supplies both. So you put an F, an A, a B, or whatever way you want to denote that, but mark which position it's supporting so that you can easily refer back to it in the paragraphs where maybe you're doing a counter argument or where you're supporting different topics. Then on the other side, note the topic that you could use in the body paragraph from this. So for instance, it says, recent research has shown that a spy cam can greatly improve the honor code. So this is supposed to be satirical. It's the idea that having spy cams on every student would be, one, not financially sound, and two, not ethically sound. It's really problematic. And so it's pointing out the idea of how difficult it is to actually catch cheating. You can't watch every person every second of the day. So what you can then put as the topic is the idea of the difficulty in ethically and fairly monitoring students. And that could be one of the topics. What you're looking for is common topics amongst these sources that you can then use together in body paragraphs. So what I'd like for you to do is access this document on your own, and please go through and look through these sources and identify whether they're for or against, and therefore either in agreement or disagreement with your position. Note the topic quickly, and then also annotate different pieces of evidence that you'd like to pull out. You have a digital copy of this. I've also printed out a paper copy that hopefully you haven't lost, so you can actually write on the paper copy and use that tomorrow. If you've lost it and you have a digital copy, type this stuff up in a little document and you can use that tomorrow, or if you can figure out a way to mark in the PDF, go for it. But what you need to do is you need to prepare for your synthesis essay that you will write tomorrow. So these are the different sources. Once you pass source F, you go to question 2. Don't look at it. You don't have to worry about that yet. So just use sources A through F. Go through the steps. If you have any questions, email me or see me before school tomorrow, and I'll be happy to answer them. So good luck with your synthesis essay tomorrow. You guys will do great. Remember, it's just your first practice, and we'll have one more after this before we go to the one that's actually graded. Okay? Good luck on this, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.